This is News 14 Carolina meteorologist Matthew East, and thanks for clicking on to today's edition, this Thursday edition of the Carolina weather video here for this January the 28th. And of course, all the talk is about the strong possibility of a major winter storm moving through much of the region. I'm going to talk in depth about that as this video unfolds. Let's get right into it. This is the 6C GFS, and let me say right off the bat, I'm going to show you some of the other modeling in a moment. I don't know that the GFS is handling things the best amongst the models, but I'll at least show you what it's indicating here. GFS, 1 o'clock this afternoon, you're looking at heavy winter precip occurring in the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. This is going to be a major winter storm, really, along into the north of that line, maybe even a little farther south in some spots back that way. Major winter storm in the southern plains into the Tennessee Valley and parts of the lower Mississippi Valley. That precip will move eastward. This is 7 a.m. on Friday. At that point in time, GFS indicating a low pressure not too far north and east of Houston. And that system will continue marching eastward. The low into Louisiana at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Friday. And then here we are at 7 p.m. on Friday with the low pressure area situated in southern Mississippi. Now, I'm fine with the GFS up to now. From here is where I think it begins to develop some issues. Notice the blue line here. That is the freezing line up at about 5,000 feet or 850 millibars. Watch what happens to that between this current time at 7 p.m. and 6 hours later. The blue line rockets up into the northern part of North Carolina. It is really the only model indicating that happening, and that plays a huge role in the exact type of precip that we see in portions of the region. So with all of that said, let me show you a comparison here. At the same time, this is 1 a.m. Saturday on the NAM, and what you're looking at here, this is the same freezing line up at 5,000 feet. And the NAM is actually warmer than a lot of the other modeling. Here's a look at the European model. And you can see that freezing line down into the upstate of South Carolina up at 5,000 feet and just southeast of Charlotte. The Canadian, even colder with that freezing line deep down into the northern part of South Carolina. Charlotte, easily below freezing on the 5,000 foot temperatures. And I don't have the UK Met plotted here, but the UK Met also is colder than the GFS. So, with all that said, the GFS could be right, but I'm going to sort of assume that it's not and sort of weight my forecast towards some of the other modeling here. So with that said, let's take a look at the precip fields from the GFS, as the precip will probably begin to move in late in the afternoon tomorrow. If not by then, certainly by tomorrow evening. And that is when we'll see the precipitation spreading on in. And it'll really settle in as we get into tomorrow night. And there you are at 7 a.m. Saturday, low pressure down in South Georgia that then progresses off of the coast. And this is 1 p.m. Saturday, finally 7 p.m. Saturday, that low slowly pulling away, a lot of lingering moisture behind it. Let's do a quick comparison again here. This is the GFS at 7 a.m. Saturday. This is the European at the same time frame. And this is the Canadian at roughly the same time as well. All the modeling indicating good cold air damming, but certainly it is strongest amongst the foreign models. And that's another reason that it just looks like they're handling the situation a little better than the GFS. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. So with all that said, I'll show you my accumulation ideas here in just a second. It gets very, very cold behind this system. We're looking at probably teens, low teens for lows on Sunday morning, maybe single digits in some spots on Monday morning. And then we go out quickly. Our next system presses in Tuesday. That one could also involve some winter precip. Haven't had a whole lot of time to really spend much effort on that one, but that'll be something to watch down the line for Tuesday. All right, now this is the NAM forecasted snow output. And notice that strip of very heavy snow totals running from the mountains right on through a good chunk of the Piedmont. This is the GFS snow totals. Generally the same, but shifted a little bit farther north due to those warmer temperatures aloft that I showed you. So with all that said, this is what I'm going with on the air this morning. Now, for the Triad, I'm going with a widespread 6 to 12 inch snowfall. There could be some sleet mixing in at some point later tomorrow night, but I think for the Triad itself, this is a predominantly snow event. The Triangle in much the same boat, maybe some sleet mixing in, but a lot of this will be snow, especially from Raleigh and points north, and I think that area too could be a 6 to 12 inch snow event. Charlotte, it gets very tricky. Southern Piedmont, depending on the precipitation types, it's very possible we could see some sleet or freezing rain involved for a period of time across the southern Piedmont. For that reason, I've gone with a sort of a broad 2 to 6 inch snow accumulation type of deal, with some ice accumulation being possible. However, if the colder foreign models verify, the snow totals will be higher in Charlotte. That is a real possibility. Just be aware for the southern Piedmont, these totals might have to be revised upward as we get closer to the event. And you get down into South Carolina, over toward the Sandhills of North Carolina, it looks like a pretty significant freezing rain event. Could be some significant icing in that area, and that'll be a concern. Then you get farther to the south, and it's all rain deep down into southern South Carolina. So that's how things stand right now. Again, if the colder, let me stress this, if the colder foreign models were to verify correctly, these totals would need to be revised upward around Charlotte and probably down into the upstate of South Carolina as well. And you'd be talking about probably the upper end of that range around the Triad, verifying if a lot of the foreign modeling is correct. Now, one other concern, there is always the concern of Gulf of Mexico convection robbing the moisture transport up into our area. I don't see much sign of that happening, at least so far, with this system. The things sort of stay positively tilted. That's not the most favorable setup for getting moisture to be robbed by the Gulf of Mexico convection. You always have to watch for that, but I don't see a lot of indications on that on the modeling this morning. All right, that's it for today's edition of the video. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Oh, and I need to mention this before I sign off here. If these totals are correct, this is a disruptive major winter storm, and travel is going to become difficult, if not impossible, by Friday night and Saturday morning across much of the area. Don't want to forget that. Now, we'll certainly delve into more of the specifics of that type of stuff tomorrow morning, but you need to be prepared that travel could become difficult, if not impossible, Friday night into Saturday morning, assuming these type of accumulation ideas verify. All right, that's it for today's edition of the video. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.